Welcome back, everybody. In this video, our focus is going to be lesson number 86. And lesson number 86 is just a simple picking pattern. I want to mostly focus on the concept of rubato for this one. But let's start with, obviously, the key signature and time signature. We are in a time signature of C, or common time, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 counts per measure. We have 3 sharps in the key signature, so that is going to be either an A major scale or an F sharp minor scale. We're going to be, in this case, in A major. The picking pattern, thumb and ring together. I was playing a rest stroke for, I believe, pretty much every instance. Every time I used my ring finger, I believe I was playing a rest stroke. Let's see. Oh, yeah. So rest stroke on that ring finger, just the way it's written. Remember that triangle without the bass, that's your rest stroke marking. So definitely want to do that. You definitely want to do that. I and M are going to be in charge of the middle voice, so don't play those too loud. You don't want to do this. They cannot be the same volume, and definitely the middle voice cannot be louder than the melody. Any instance where you have a melody, a melodic note longer than a quarter note, make sure that it rings. Don't drop the finger. Don't remove the finger off that particular note. Off of that particular note. So, like for example, in measure 2, we have E7. It's G sharp. Let it ring. Don't take your finger off. Here's what it would sound like with the finger off as soon as you play it. Okay, you want to leave it on. And then when you get to measure 4, make sure that you let that open string ring. Try not to stop it. If you do stop it on accident, it will probably be because of your left hand. You'll probably get lazy right here, and that'll stop that string. So make sure that you don't do that. And then, of course, in the very end, the last measure, keep that 4th finger down for the duration of that measure. Oops. And keeping that middle voice a little bit lower in volume is going to help bring out the melody, and especially the notes that need to be held. So that's both the finger picking pattern and the melody. Okay, we got a half bar in measure 1 right here. It's going to be a bit of an issue shifting. That ring finger is going to be your guide finger. Shift and then place the bar. Really important that you are shifting cleanly. Okay, you can't do this. You can't do just how would you say, a half-worthy attempt to a shift, because you're gonna have to play your 4th finger on the 5th fret too immediately after that G sharp. So you want to make sure that you shift cleanly and correctly here, so that your 4th finger is ready to play that A. Find some more technical stuff. On measure 4, the melody is going to ring for that duration, for the duration of the measure. The bass becomes the more prominent voice, since it's the one thing that's moving. Everything else is being static. Everything else being static. So in the bass you have an A, an E, an A, and then a C sharp. So mute the bass strings. Mute the 5th, mute the 6th, reach, that might be difficult, reaching for that C sharp. So that might be something to practice. So I got my 1st finger on A, 2nd finger on C sharp, and my 4th finger on C sharp on the 5th string. Okay. Oops. And then it starts over. It's all the same. You're going to want to aim for this shift on the 7th fret, half bar on the 7th fret. We got a B, we we got, what is that, an F sharp and a D. Yeah, just making sure. B, what did I say? B, F sharp, and D. That's going to be, those are going to be the notes in charge. Your first finger is going to be in charge of all of those notes. And then slightly newish notes at this point. B on the 7th, C sharp on the 9th because of our key signature, right? All your F's are sharp, all your C's are sharp, and all of your G's are sharp. So that's why the C is a C sharp, and that's why it's going to be on the 9th fret. D's on the 10th. Okay, and then again, you're going to aim just like you aim to get to this 7th fret to get a nice clean shift. You're going to aim to the 5th fret. Okay, now you got a bar on 2 strings. You got an A on the 1st string, an E on the 2nd string. And then your 2nd finger will be in charge of the C sharp right here. Right? C sharp on the 2nd fret of the 2nd string is going to have to be moved to the 6th fret of the 3rd string. What am I playing? And the bass. When you shift, this is kind of awkward. When you shift down a fret, be accurate with that ring finger, with that 3rd finger. And it's okay to stop to hear the break between these 2 notes in the middle voice followed by these 2 notes in the middle voice, because there is technically a 16th rest there, right? So in measure 7, I don't want to hear this. Oops. You hear how you could hear the notes before I played them? I'll show you again. Okay, that is a consequence of failing to remove your finger, remove the pressure that your fingers are applying onto that string before the shift. So remove the pressure, shift, and then play the notes. Okay. Otherwise, again, you'll get this. That's a big no-no. Now, at this point, I find it to be a nice bit of flavor, spice, variety, if you will, to, let me see, where am I? On the 3rd count, what I would like you to do is ignore the 16th rest in the middle voice as you play the E and the bass, so that these 2 notes connect with these 2 notes, but still without that slide coming through. So we have, let me see if I can show you this from the beginning of the measure. Hear that? And then we finish at the half bar. Okay, and that's it. So let's go ahead and talk about the rubato. You want to start by, again, revving up. Don't start bum 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 bum. That's kind of bland. We need a little bit more. We just need something else there. So, which is why I encourage you to start by doing a slight accelerando into a tempo. Notice when I got to that high note, that A, the A on the 2nd measure, I staggered those notes, but I also lingered on it for just a second. Oops. And then slow down, a bit of a pull back as you start to begin the next phrase, and then again start to push forward. A gradual push forward, not I'm here, and then I'm here, and then I'm here. It's more like, here I come, okay, and I'm coming back now, and then I'm moving forward, and I'm moving back, kind of like a swing, right? So let's see. Oops. Hear that? That pull. Oops. Oops. a measure 4. Did you hear that? At the very, very end, that last count, that fourth count, the C sharp, along with the 3 notes in the middle voice, I just pulled back just a hair. Let me show you again, measure 4. Highest note. Did you hear that? Did you hear that? Again, I always seem to go back to this visual of you going up a hill as you get to that high note, and then falling falling gradually back down. Okay, so measure 5. And the push and pull of the time, that rubato that I'm demonstrating, is in line with the phrases. So in the beginning we have our first phrase, end of this phrase, okay? Second phrase. End of the second phrase, beginning of the next one. This phrase, next phrase. Okay, and that about covers it. Oh, the theory, last thing. I always do the theory last. There are literally just 3 chords, believe it or not. It sounds really pretty, but there are only 3 chords. First measure is A, second measure is E7, third measure is E7 or 5/7. Right, because E is the 5 of A, B, C, D, E. So E is the 5th scale degree. So E7. I'm sorry. Let's start over. A or 1, 5, E7 or 5/7. Measure 3, 5/7 again, or E7. Measure 4 is A, which is the 1. Measure 5 is A again, and then we have, whoops, D major, which is the 4. A, B, C, D, D. A, B, C, D. So that would be the 4 chord, which is a major. Measure 7 is A with an E in the bass. So that would be, what would that be? A in second inversion, right? In Roman numerals, we would call that 1-6-4 with the figured bass. And then E7, there is some chromaticism. So we have, let me go over that. So we have A with an E in the bass, some chromaticism, passing notes, landing onto the notes that create an E7, which is the 5/7, and then A. And you're done. Okay, so that's the theory. I went over the technique. You got a couple of guide fingers, just follow the music, but I think this is a great lesson to end the first book on, because the focus can specifically be the musical side of things and not necessarily the technical side. The half bars we've done so often that they should be doable at this point. I believe the only technical thing that might be troublesome is that C sharp. But other than that, the technical side of things should be an afterthought, and the focus should then become the musicality, the rubato, the push and pull of the tempo, the dynamics. As you pull away, slow down. As you as you pull away, play a little bit softer. Couple it with the dynamics. As you push forward, get a little bit louder. Okay, pretty basic. Pull away, quieter. Push forward, a little bit louder, and it becomes, like I said, a swing. It's very, very organic, very real, as opposed to square, like what a computer would do if you were to input the notes. It would sound right, but you could tell right away it just sounds dull, I guess you could say. Okay, so that should be your focus. All right, so tomorrow I've decided to go over the scales in the following pages of this book, and I'll go over with you some ways to practice your scale or your scales, and I believe I'm going to take Friday off and then return on Monday with some new videos. All right, so practice it, and when you're ready, I will see you in the video that pertains to the scales.